What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another World of Warcraft video for the War Within, and today we have an absolutely huge video talking about some news for goldmaking and talking about the patch 11.0.7. I will be talking about how this will affect goldmaking. There are a couple of changes coming up that will really impact goldmaking. Even if you're just crafting or if you're farming, there will be something affecting pretty much everyone coming out in 11.0.7, and it's not just one thing, it is several different notes or development notes for the patch that will, to some extent, affect your gameplay. In addition to that, I'll be talking about a little bit of speculation about when the patch actually will come out, which, there's a couple of indicators that will tell you a little bit about when the patch comes out. Now, the patch being on PTR already is indicator number 1, so I would assume anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks from now, probably closer to the 4-week mark. Either way, let's get right into it. So these are the development notes for patch 11.0.7, and it's the call of the Siren Isle. Basically, 11.0.7 gives us a brand new zone in the War Within, and right off I'm just gonna say it looks like it's a no flying zone, or at least for now on the PTR, flying is restricted on that zone, which I'm not sure how to feel about. It feels like they've been trying to put so much emphasis on flying that it feels weird to have a no flying zone, with like dragon riding being here and being improved, and this expansion we can now use dragon riding on all mounts, so it just feels like antithetical to what they have been trying to accomplish. Now, I'm not going to read all of these notes, by the way, but we're going to go through what affects gold making specifically here, because that's what I'm interested in. And for the notes themselves, this is on Wowhead, so you can find all of the notes if you want to have them. Alternatively, just watch the World of Warcraft video talking about this upcoming patch as well, so you know more about the patch. But for gold making, we have to scroll a little bit far down. You have a bunch of class changes first of all, you have some overall stuff over here as well, and the Isle is going to be very interesting for gold making. We're going to have transmog items, toys, and battle pets, even a mount. And I'm not sure if you have any BOE mounts, so that one might not be too relevant for gold making, but based on what I've been watching and what I've been testing so far, it looks like a War Within version of the Mechagon Isle, and I don't know about you, but that was one of my favorite zones in the last couple of expansions. It was just really cool. So going down here to professions, we have some items as well, but professions is the main important thing. Number 1, pairing with the release of the specialization respec option, we are deploying some balance changes to several professional stats to bring them closer together in value. Now, before we read closer here, this first sentence is important. Pairing with the release of the specialization respec option. That means we are getting a professions respec option. Now, we don't know yet how this one will work. Will we get one respec each? Will it be like something you pay for with gold? We don't honestly know that much just yet, but it's looking like we're getting a way to respec our talents, which is absolutely great. Like, I know myself, I have messed up a little bit on some professions, and I know some of you guys have as well. It's quite difficult to make a build super early, because some things work early, and some things works better later on. So what made a lot of gold in the first couple of weeks of the expansion no longer works the same way. So getting this respec option, you can make a lot more gold by optimizing your builds. And for the purpose of optimizing your builds, here's a shout out to my Goldmaking Guide for the War Within, which if you want my help optimizing your builds for goldmaking in the War Within, check out that Goldmaking Guide through the link down below. Now, we currently have 3 videos in exclusive access, which means this is 3 videos that I will never make public on YouTube that you will have access to when you buy this guide. So not only do you get the guide itself, you also get more videos that I will not make public. We have one that is arguably the best way to make gold at the moment, and you can do a couple of things to make it even better, which I go through in that video, and you can make a bunch of gold with it. Now, the aim is to make more exclusive content for the guide as well, so more videos that you have access to when you have the guide, and you also get early access to content. When it comes to patch 11.0.7 Goldfarms, for example, you will have early access to those, because this is something we have been doing since the launch of the War Within, where I give you guys early access to videos. Sometimes Sometimes that's only 1 day early access, sometimes it's up to a week. It just depends entirely on the actual content we are covering. In addition to that, the guide itself talks about professions in depth and how to spend your knowledge points to optimize your builds, and you also get access to a Discord server where you can talk even more and chat with me, for example, to optimize your things even further. So check out that guide if you really want to make gold in the War Within. The link is down below. Now, getting back to the post, we were talking about the profession, specialization, and respec option. This is something people have been asking for since Dragonflight, so like this is way past due or overdue. It's about time, and I could not be more happy. Now, I just hope this is either a one-time thing or the cost of this goes up over time, because otherwise this can be really exploited, kind of, because if, let's just say it's free, and you can respec as much as you want, or even once per week, this allows you to have multiple builds on the same character. So if you only have one character, you can basically spec yourself in Inscription, for example. You can both mill, you can make ink, you can make cards, you can just respec every single time, and you can, for example, buy a bag full of herbs, spec into milling, mill them all, and then respec once again, spec into crafting ink this time around, and then craft all of those inks. It kind of takes away in the whole importance of your build if you can just respec all the time. So I hope it's either a one-time thing, or it costs more gold over time, or it's once per season. Just have some sort of restriction or a cap or something attached to this respec, and it will be great. Now, if you keep reading here, there's some changes happening to multicraft and resourcefulness. So first of all, multicraft, the average number of extra items created via a multicraft crit is reduced by 30%, and in resourcefulness, the average percent of reagents returned on a resourcefulness crit is increased by 50%. In addition, we are adjusting several specialization tree bonuses to multicraft. So in Inscription, for example, the total amount of multicraft goods or additional goods from multicraft is reduced to plus 50%. This used to be plus 100%, and the same thing is in tailoring, where it used to be 100% and is now 50% here as well, from the less is more tree. So in Inscription, for example, when you're making contracts, you can proc up to 7 contracts, I believe, or at least 6, so you can get a lot more contracts from one proc than you can in patch 11.0.7, and it just made gold making a whole mess, because you technically basically never made gold until you got the multicraft proc. So you would have to craft a lot of items to get a steady gold per hour measurement, or you would have to be really lucky. Basically, if you only crafted one card, or let's just say one of those I'm blanking so hard, but one contract. If you made one contract, and let's say you had 20% multicraft, you have a 1 in 5 chance to actually make gold, and 4 in 5 chance to lose gold, and in that case you lose gold way more than you make gold. But over time, if you do this enough, those multicraft procs proccing 6 contracts makes you make gold. Now, overall, I'm actually not that mad about this change, because they're buffing resourcefulness as well, and it feels like they are trying to take away the illusion of choice, because right now you have the illusion of choice where if you have Inscription, for example, and you're making contracts or missives or even Dark Moon sigils, you can basically have a tool with resourcefulness on it and you make gold. But multicraft is currently so good that if you don't have multicraft, you are absolutely throwing. Multicraft is basically twice as good as resourcefulness, if not even better. Like, it's not even a choice at the moment. Yes, you have a choice, but one is vastly better. So they're trying to bring them back down to normal, where you now have a viable choice. Not just the illusion of choice, but a viable choice. So you can spec into resourcefulness, and I'm just going to argue that if you only have one main tool, resourcefulness might be the best one for you in patch 11.0.7, because that way you can do the weekly patron orders and save reagents, and you can make more gold by saving more materials on those crafting orders and on your concentration crafts. So to anyone someone who only has one tool, resourcefulness might be the best one to go for, but my recommendation is that you probably have 4 or 5 weeks until patch 11.0.7, so get yourself a second tool, buy a second blue tool, like farm up acuity and get a second blue tool, one of which has resourcefulness and the other one has multicraft. That way you can do resourcefulness proccing on your crafting orders, and you can do multicraft on concentration craft, for example. Now, one effect this is likely going to have on the market is something that we are already seeing right now, where items are going back up in price, and what you're going to see in 11.0.7 is that you will likely, for example on your concentration alts, you will likely make gold now baseline, because at the moment if you're making spell threads, for example, you lose a little bit of gold every single time you craft something, even with concentration, but when you proc multicraft, you get about 10,000 gold profit from one proc. So basically at the moment you are hoping for the multicraft proc, and if you don't get multicraft, you are absolutely effed. Like, you will not make any gold. In spell threads, this has been the problem now for about 3 weeks, where you literally lose gold, even with concentration and crafting rank 3, using rank 2 materials, you still lose gold until you get the multicraft proc. Now in patch 11.0.7, you will likely make gold baseline, and just make a little bit more when you proc multicraft, because what's gonna happen here is that there will be less of those items on the market now, because instead of proccing +6, you will probably proc +3. So way less items on the market, and it's all supply versus demand. Demand stays the same, meanwhile supply goes down, equals price usually goes up. Now, if we keep on reading here, the next part is the developer's note about this. Actually, I haven't talked about this yet. The total amount of additional goods Multicraft produces when crafting polishing cloth in the final point of additional embroidery tree has been reduced to +10%, and this one used to be +50. So when it comes to polishing cloth, that will go down a lot, and this one might be smart to stock up on. It just depends on the actual value of resourcefulness versus Multicraft. But getting +50% down to +10%, that is a 5 times down. Like, this is a huge decrease. Now, the developer's note here is that while Multicraft and resourcefulness each have their own niche, it is generally the case that point for point, Multicraft can provide significantly better value than the other crafting and gathering stats. Conversely, resourcefulness now provides significantly less value than other crafting and gathering stats. The above change should bring these two stats closer in value to the other stats, with the intention that it becomes a more interesting choice which stats to pursue. Exactly, gives you more options. Now, I know one person who's really happy about this specific change about the resourcefulness, and that is probably Goldson, doing a bunch of crafting orders, and I'm kind of happy as well, because if you're doing crafting orders, like, I make about 300,000 gold per week from doing my crafting orders. Now, I do a bunch of crafting orders, so that's not really good gold per hour by any means. I probably spend about 10 hours per week doing that, so it's 30k per hour, but the resourcefulness now gives me more materials back, so I'm just gonna make more gold from this, and this is something I do to get my knowledge points anyway. It's just a way for me to increase my profits week by week, and I make some gold by doing it. Now, with these resourcefulness buffs, we are going to make even more gold if you have a resourcefulness tool and you do crafting orders. Now, one more thing that is going to be really important for gold makers, specifically gold farmers, is something in the user interface and accessibility option. And for this one, you're gonna have to you're gonna put on your tinfoil hat, and I'm gonna talk a little bit, and you will tell me exactly what you think. Am I completely off the rails, or do I have a point? Now, a disruption option has been added to the gameplay sabotage category when reporting players for misbehavior. So, a disruption option has been added to the gameplay sabotage. Now, if you've been doing any 2x4 farming in the War Within, I have seen and heard about a lot of people getting banned for doing 2x4 farming, and I actually believe them, because the thing is, Blizzard's reporting system and the banning system is automatic. If 20 people right now report you, you will get automatically banned. Not even a single human is going to take it like, there's not any human intervention there. Enough people report you, you will get instantly banned. That's it. Now, with this one right here, disruption and the gameplay sabotage. If you are doing 2x4 farming in a questing area, you are directly sabotaging someone's gameplay because they are doing a quest, and this is especially relevant if you're farming in a campaign location. So if you're farming in a campaign location, you are directly sabotaging their gameplay and their campaign, which leads to a lot of people reporting you if you do that. One real life example of that is in the War Within we had a gold farm. I just turned off the music, but in the War Within we had a gold farm located on the beach of Isle of Dorn, right here. Now the thing is, that place was and still is a part of the introduction campaign when you start playing the War Within, and while this was a really good gold farm for quite a while, a lot of people reached out to me. I say a lot, probably 5 or 6 people reached out to me and told me that they got banned while farming at this location, and they all said they never botted in their life, they didn't use any third-party programs, they were just farming for a lot, like 10 hours plus per day, and then they got banned. So if we go back to the post over here, for example, and take a look at the post, I think this just makes it more easy to report people like that, and I'm a gold farmer myself. This is really, like, not fun to see, and I just feel like people are going to use this to report people, and it can be abused in so many ways, and I've already seen this being abused at, for example, the wolf and bee skinning farm, where people are reporting each other. If 2 groups are farming, they report each other, because if they, like, overlap, basically, they start reporting to get them to go away. Like, reporting has become a thing now, where you know that reporting plus banning is automated, so when a group of 5 people report you, chances are you might get banned, you might get muted, some action might be taken, so people are just mass reporting already when it comes to even gold farming, and especially in Season of Discovery, for example, people were using this in PvP to automatically ban people and win matches, where they would report players of their own faction and the opposite faction to win battlegrounds, for example. So people are reporting, and people will report you even if you're just farming gold, if they can, and if you are disrupting their gameplay. So with this feature, I would just say be a little bit careful about where you farm, and maybe don't do any 2x4 farms where you're 8 people farming together, because that looks very suspicious. Imagine if you're a new player to WoW, you have no idea what 2x4 farming is, you just see 8 people running around pulling 10,000 mobs, you think they are cheating, and you will report them. So be a little bit careful about that. Not everyone knows what 2x4 farming is, and I would just say stay away from campaign quests when doing those farms if you want to be safe. Now, just to talk about this a little bit more for about 30 seconds, yes, I know 2x4 farming and farming gold is not against terms of service, so technically you should not be banned for this, but I don't know all about the terms of service for Blizzard. I mean, I agreed to them when playing this game. I don't know all of it though, and the thing is, a lot of gaming companies, I don't know if Blizzard does this, but they have this clause where they can ban you for just about anything, where they reserve to ban you no matter what, and they don't even have to tell you why. So if you look at them the wrong way, they can literally ban you for it, and it's not like you broke any rules, it is just that one subclause they have, where they reserve the right to ban you for literally anything you do. So in this case, their ban system is automatic, you can get reported, and I'm just telling you, be aware. Alright, now I promise you this video is about to be over, but there's one more thing I want to touch on, and that is the timeline or the launch date of patch 11.0.7, because with all of these changes you might be wondering, when does this even happen? Well, there's one post on Wowhead, and I'll be talking about something else as well, but this one gives you an indication that it will be launching prior to the Winter Veil, because they have this splash screen that is data mined in the data files of this patch, which is check your calendars and upcoming events. Winter Veil, Turbulent Timeways, Plunderstorm, and more is coming, which means it will be launching, or it should be launching, before the Winter Veil starts. Now, Winter Veil usually starts on December 17th, which means we should be getting this before December 17th. Now, going away from Wowhead for a second as well, we're in patch 11.0.5 right now, and we basically have the whole anniversary event, which is basically the patch, and that one is scheduled to end on January 8th. That being said, I don't believe they're going to wait until January 9th, for example, to release this, so we're going to have a patch 11.0.7 overlapping with the anniversary event, and I believe this one will be launching, like this patch right here, 11.0.7, will be launching either late November or early December. I skipped to January, so late November or early December. If I had to put my money on something, I would say December 3rd, or December 4th for EU, or December 3rd for North America. Could even be the week before that, but I don't believe they're gonna wait until the 11th, so either the 27th of November or the 4th of December. And one more thing that kind of backs up the 11.0.7 and the celebration event, or the 20th anniversary event overlap, is that if you play the PTR right now, some quests, especially campaign quests, they literally give you bronze celebration tokens. So this patch will be overlapping, and it will very likely launch in November or December. Either way, that's a long video, so hopefully that covers just about everything you want to know for gold making in patch 11.0.7, and hopefully it catches you up to speed on what's happening. Either way, thank you for watching, let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments down below, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.